Thank you, Noel. Uh, I always love the angles that Maurice bring. Long time ago, I used to attend leadership meetings, and you hear that uh, some people just keep quiet the whole time, and everyone is yes, yes, yes. By the end of the day, no healthy discussion. And then what happens? I used to say I wouldn't like to be in a meeting that people are like sheep. Sheep, one direction one chooses to go, everyone is going there. You see, and by the end of the day, they may not make up the right decisions. It's always healthy to bring in different angles. And so, just commenting about them, one is he's talked uh, about learning and getting to know a bit of something. That is very, very critical. And I've had very many uh, instances where that was very helpful. People, by the way, the so-called experts are likely to mislead you. The basic principles don't change. At one point when I was involved in this Nairobi Dam drama, people were bringing in concepts that don't make sense scientifically. Yeah. And because of my knowledge about that concept of how things work, I'm able to relate with the equations, and I'm able to say, no, 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 this doesn't make scientific sense unless you are arguing from theory, and this is not a place for theory. You see, so it's always good to have a bit of everything so that you are not misled, because it's possible that some experts will mislead you deliberately. Again, in order to be able to find an opportunity to comment on things, you remember during elections, leaders are put to TV interviews and they will ask you all sorts of things. If you have no grasp, you will not say, let me go and ask experts. No, no, no. You need to have a bit of everything. It's very good. A leader is a generalist. When it comes to dealing with that issue specifically, you will hire the right people to do it, because your role is more of people management. That is the way it works. Again, things to do with alcohol. I love, well, Noel has talked about proverb, talking about as a man thinketh, and the sum total of our thought being, of ourselves being our thoughts. That's exactly from James Allen's book. We are the sum total of our thoughts. But there is also the proverb that talks about the wisdom of Proverbs 31. They say, and he's told about alcohol, it will impair your judgment. Let them drink, those who are perishing. Let them drink, those who have nothing to lose. But you, it is not for leaders, Nemuel. It is not for leaders. That is the way it is. Alcohol will impair your judgment. Remember, you don't do things to please people. You do things because they are the right things for you. And by the way, it's related to health. And that is what we are also talking about being. You cannot be an effective leader who is alcoholic. If you remember, at one point at the start of the book, we mentioned that my dad was a drunkard. Drunkards, nobody wants to seek your opinion, because your drunkardness comes ahead of anything else. You may have good ideas, but you're a drunkard. That's the way it is. So besides impairing your judgment, it also shows how you lead yourself. So you are talking about drinking, which could be something like sharing a drink where people are just talking and discussing things. That's not being a drunkard. And the other thing is, just starting with that point of health, you cannot be effective in an unhealthy body. It's always easy to see leaders who are ineffective. The size of their bodies will tell you. People who are carrying health challenges along the way, by the way, I'm not very afraid to say, Homa Bay governor is one such leader. You cannot be thinking about your weight and health and then you are still effective. All effective leaders are in good physical shape and thinking right. There is no way you're going to have active and healthy mind in a healthy body. But now let's go back to meditation. This concept is one that eludes a lot of leaders. today, many people love noises. They are always looking for jumpy places, jumpy points. People do not take time to think about the solutions, to think about the future, to think about themselves. And that largely is what has caused Africa to be backward. You see, we are subjects to our thinking and conditioning, and this will determine the future we have. All great leaders have always had an opportunity, always take regular opportunities to meditate. And by the way, when I mentioned there the likes of uh, the likes of JP Morgan, the likes of John D. Rockefeller, and all such people, you'll realize that the solutions they brought up we still use to date. Let me, I know Dr. Eda has issues with Rockefeller. I don't know those, I don't want to get into those issues. We are talking about leadership here in meditation. So the meditation here, you know, this pipeline that we use today, and everyone is talking about pipeline that people are transfer, we are able to transport oil from Mombasa to Uganda to other places. This concept came out of a trouble between Vanderbilt and Rockefeller. Rockefeller was the producer of oil, the paraffin that people were using. If you watch the movie Who Built America, the paraffin was a new invention then. Uh, John D did not want to be involved in primary production, mining and all these things. So he thought, what is it that I can do with oil and add value so that I am able to be in business and make money? And there was a race of being monopoly and something like that. So he was able to process to oil to become paraffin, and that was a new invention. People were very happy to see light at night, and he was transmitting it, he was transporting it all over America using the railway line. The one in charge of transport was Vanderbilt, and because they were racing and somewhat they disagreed at some point, Vanderbilt stopped transporting his oil, and he was with his oil there, production is going on, and he did not know what to do. But because he regularly took time to think, time to meditate, he was walking just within his factory and thinking, and then he saw pipes moving oil from one end to the other, one end to the other in the processing. And then he said, why not use these pipes? And they started building it. And they built it across America. And Vanderbilt was feeling really defeated, because by the end of the day, this was his biggest customer, but he chose to kill him. But in that particular situation, this guy became even more powerful and built pipelines across America. And that's why today we have pipelines. The same thing, if you think about Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison, that is when he meditated much, knew what was happening, and he kept reciting what is popularly known as the Invictus. The Invictus. It's a very, very powerful poem. Out of the night that covers me black as the pit from the pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unquenchable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstances, I have not whined nor cried aloud. Under the burgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strict the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. He kept meditating on that year and year, time and again, and he was able to emerge victorious. We must know the power of meditation as leaders. If you think of Henry Ford, that is the way he came up with the engine that engineers could not. Now, this is going back to the expert thing that Maurice was bringing. Engineers said it's impossible to bring that, scientifically impossible. But through meditation, he gets flash of insight from the infinite intelligence, from the all-knowing. And he was able to see that this is something that will be done. And he insisted on it. And by the end of the day, it was produced and it became a revolution. That is the same way Albert Einstein was able to come up with the revolution, the theory of relativity, which has revolutionized the world. And today, you can't imagine what we could be without it. You see? So these things, and we know that Jesus withdrew from time to time to a lonely place to think, to meditate. Meditation, by the way, I dare say, is the greatest form of prayer. That is when prayers get answered, because you think about exactly what you're looking for, you meditate on a particular matter, and you come up with a solution. All great leaders, read their book, read about them. You will realize that they meditate. And so it's very important that we take that home. Another thing is about learning, born again learner. What is it that they are learning if they're not becoming general? You learn about different subjects, you learn about different matters, you learn about different problems, you learn about people. And it's said that as leaders grow in ladder, they stop learning much about the technical, but they learn about the soft part. They learn about people. Your study, maybe you are an engineer, and most of you probably already know about, I remember the name, but he had an engineer, Charles Schwarz. And this Charles Schwarz, who was just an engineer, learned so well how to deal with people that the company became most profitable and the richest of all the countries, of all the companies. You see, so dealing with people is a great skill. And as Dale Carnegie, yeah, that was the Carnegie. As Carnegie would say, Andrew Carnegie then, that I would pay anything for it. And that is what we call leadership. All the people who study project management will tell you that it's easier to manage things. But when it comes to managing people so that projects can run in time, projects can run within budget, it's the most difficult part. And so studying again and again, and that's why John Maxwell says, learning and leadership are indispensable to each other. Let me stop there for now.
Thank you so much.